And just a reminder to please keep your devices on mute. Mute button is on the bottom left corner of your screen. And also any questions you might have, please put them in the chat. Both the NCCA and NECPA staff will be happy to answer them as we go along throughout the presentation. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our presenter, who is actually the executive director of both NECPA and NCCA, Ms. Storm Webb.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for your time today. I know your time is precious, so thanks for spending an hour with us. We have a lot of content to go through today for accreditation. We're going to go through several different areas of accreditation, what it means, how to rebuild using accreditation post-COVID, how to make accreditation work for you and your parents and your staff. I'm going to stop my video and just utilize this PowerPoint for you to follow along to. But if you have any questions as I go through the presentation, please feel free to raise your hand or chat anything to our team, and we'll be happy to stop and address it. Thank you. In addition to going over the core areas of today's webinar, we're going to do the top 3 secrets of accreditation to help you navigate better these first steps if you are just now starting with your accreditation journey. I've got some inspirational quotes throughout, and I really love what Benjamin Franklin shared. Without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success have no meaning. Here's our session overview. We're going to go through what does accreditation look like, how to get started, why parents choose high-quality programs, unique resources for your state, and using accreditation as a tool to rebuild your program's success after COVID. So I really want to make sure that you feel like you're engaged. I don't want to just talk at you for an hour. So I really would love for you to chat questions as they come in. And what we're going to do is launch our first poll to see what role you have at your program. So Mariah, if you don't mind doing that. I'd like to know who's an owner, who's a director or administrator, how many educators do we have today? And if you don't see the poll pop up, you can go ahead and chat that answer directly. All right, we'll give that just a couple more seconds. Okay. Doesn't look like we had too many people chat in. Please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat as we go through. All right, and then we're going to go to our next poll question. So Mariah, if you don't mind launching that. Is your program actively accredited or pursuing accreditation? And you can just say yes or no or not yet. Right. Let me see if that's coming through. Okay, perfect. And Mariah, when you feel like we have a good amount of responses, you can go ahead and share those results. And since I'm not able to see it, if you don't mind sharing with the group.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So it looks like we've got about 13 out of 28 who answered are currently pursuing accreditation, and 15 out of the 28 are not at this time.
All right, thank you. Perfect. And then we're going to do some simple word association to see how you feel about accreditation. So what's one word that comes to mind when you hear the word accreditation? And if you don't see that poll, please feel free to chat it in. And if we're seeing any scary words or unpleasant thoughts coming through, my goal today is to change those to thoughts of pride and passion and to clarify some of those scary areas around accreditation.
This one is having a little bit of difficulty, but it looks like so far in the chat, someone said stressful, paperwork.
Paperwork, got it, yeah.
Quality, so.
All right, perfect. Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for your interaction today. We really appreciate it. We're going to do a quick rundown of NECPA or NECPA. We just celebrated our 30th birthday last year, or as I like to say, 29 plus 1. Our board consists of owners and operators of early childhood programs who serve on the commission and our council. We offer teacher and director credentials, and we also support, we're the parent company for the National Child Care Association, so that we can bring our accredited providers thoughts and concerns and funding requests directly to your legislators. This is actually a slide that was written by one of our providers for us. She wanted to share with you her experience and what she feels makes NECPA unique. She feels that our standards are written with your program in mind and to enhance the quality, but not change your good work that you're already performing. She also feels that accreditation standards can be easily adapted into your current program with minimal modifications. We like to say that we are provider friendly and we try to always put client support first. So what are the benefits of becoming accredited? We know that children's brain development, most of it is done before the age of 5, anywhere between 80 to 90% of brain development. So the care that you provide now lasts a lifetime. Decades of research enforces that high quality care leads to more successful adults. In addition to providing this high quality care, making sure that you stand out among your competition is another great way, is another great reason why you should pursue accreditation. Less than 10% of programs nationwide are accredited. Additionally, accreditation makes you eligible for exclusive funding streams. Through accreditation with Child Care and Development Block Grant, or CCDBG, you have access to quality rating dollars. In 2021, we had a huge investment of $5.911 billion, and this year we have $6.1 billion dedicated to this unique funding stream that you can qualify for by pursuing accreditation. There's also Child Care Aware of America's military fee assistance. Mariah has shared a couple links directly into chat where you can learn more about these unique funding streams and how to access them for you and your parents. There's also unique state resources on Child Care Aware of America's website. There's everything you need to support your families seeking care or health and social services assistance by using this map. And then for NECPA accreditation specifically, this resource map is focused on accreditation support and unique funding streams for you and the families you serve once you become accredited. And Mariah has chatted those as well. Thank you. So how do you begin with accreditation? We're going to go through the steps to success. So in general, most accrediting bodies follow these three major steps. And we're going to go to each of these processes more in depth in the slides that follow. You have self-study or enrollment, verification and results, and annual award maintenance. NECPA's process is cyclical. Once you complete a step, you continue through the path and then repeat each step as you renew. So we try to keep the process pretty straightforward. Most often we're asked, how long does it take to become accredited? And this timeline really does vary, specific to the program. So how often do you have time to dedicate to implementation of standards? Your prior understanding of standards, as well as your program's current standard alignment, can impact or influence the time it takes for you to complete self-study. Although self-study is valid for 2 years, we see on average that programs are able to complete self-study in 6 to 8 months. Then the next step is scheduling your visit, and that can take up to an additional 4 months. And receiving your results is an additional 2 months. So overall, we see programs going through the process in 12 to 18 months. So the very first step to success is enrolling. And this is your independent evaluation of your program. So with NECPA, we send you all the materials that you need to get started. We send you a goodie basket full of helpful resources, master copies. You get a copy of the self-assessment instrument, which is where you'll record your answers to the standards, as well as the standards book. And I have a slide dedicated to how easy it is to read through the standards book and make those changes necessary. So self-study consists of 3 core elements: evaluating your program, implementing any necessary changes, and putting together the documentation necessary for you to have those pieces of your program assessed at the time of your visit. So evaluation is evaluating your program against accreditation standards. You use the standards book and say, yes, I meet this, or no, I don't meet this. And our goal is to have you say yes to all standards items. Essentially, you can use this manual as a checklist as you go through the process of evaluation to note areas of non-compliance where you may need to make some changes. It's important at this point to involve your staff and parents. We have unique, specific classroom checklists in the standards book pre-made for your use, for the teachers themselves to help you evaluate each of your classrooms. You also have checklists for observing teacher-child interactions, involving your families. Using the parent survey helps you understand where both of those key stakeholders for your program see your program in terms of completing those required standards. Additionally, reviewing your policies and practices, policies and procedures, as well as logs. And we have free policy checklists as well, noted on this slide, available on our website for download. You can also download for free a PDF copy of our standards book and self-assessment instrument. Thank you for chatting that resource, Mariah. All right. Step 2, after you've done that evaluation, is to implement the changes that you see as needing to meet accreditation standards. So putting into effect those areas based off of your evaluation. This is where we feel it's very beneficial to rebuilding your program, because if you have new staff members, essentially this is an advantage for you in terms of conducting this staff training. So achieving accreditation should be the goal of this orientation, as well as creating and updating new policies. So when you onboard new families, you'll have the accreditation policies and practices and procedures already in place. Perhaps you need to enhance some emergency plans or posters in your classrooms for hand washing or diaper changing. And all of these are free resources that we have available online for you to download and to improve upon or change as meets your own requirements. Ensuring consistency in these health and safety practices, as well as high quality teacher-child interactions, will make for a successful accreditation verification. This work plan we find very helpful in directors going through either the first time or directors needing to renew, because this walks you through every step from opening your standards book all the way through requesting your visit. There are points within the work plan where you would involve your staff and families in order to ensure success at those points. It also helps take some of the self-assessment items off of your plate. So after evaluation and implementation of the needed changes, then you put together your documentation. We like to call this the doc box, but you can put it together however best fits your own organizational style. If you wanted to use a filing folder with the labels that we provide at your enrollment, that's one of the most common ways we see documentation put together. This consists of everything that's not observable in your classrooms, such as your policies, your staffing, qualifications, handbooks, lesson plans, curriculum, assessment tools, records, logs. If you prefer to put this together in a binder, it just needs to be well organized and accessible when the verifier comes to your program. We require only one documentation box per program. And here is another slide of those free resources that we've put together for your success. In addition to the free resources online, we also have several walkthrough videos to help you through each part of self-study, including putting together your documentation box. And Mariah is chatting some additional resource links if you wanted to access those for later. Once you've completed your evaluation, implementation, and documentation for self-study, meaning that you've answered everything in the book, you've collected your parent and staff surveys, and your documentation is ready for review, you're ready to request your verification. Now, this means that the accrediting body comes to your program in person to evaluate the standards. Verification usually consists of two areas: classroom observations and documentation review. This usually takes an entire day. If you have a larger program, This may take more than one day, or you may have more than one verifier come to your program. With NECPA accreditation, we don't practice gotcha accreditation. We really want verification to be a day of success for you. That's why we provide consistent support and free resources so that when you have questions, we're here to ensure your success. We utilize verifiers who have been with NECPA for at least 10 years and who are regional experts, so they understand your state's unique regulations, and they are owners or directors themselves. We would never send you a competitor, as we have a very thorough conflict of interest policy. We look at 100% of your classes. So that consists of all your full-time and part-time staff and every classroom currently in operation at your center. We look thoroughly at observations because we feel that what we see in your classroom speaks more to the quality of your care than any paperwork. Once your verification is complete, the verifier will put your self-assessment instrument, your documentation for your parent and staff surveys, and your license, and send it to the office. And then once that material is received, it goes to our commission and council for a result. We have 3 results that are most common: fully accredited, pending, and deferred. Now with NECPA accreditation, quality is a continuum. It's not pass or fail. So if you're fully accredited, you'll then go into award maintenance. If your program is placed into pending, that means we just need to see some additional documentation that wasn't able to be verified on the day of the visit. If the program is placed in deferral, it means that we need to come back out and observe some additional standards that were found to be in non-compliance on the day of the visit. Once these steps are complete, full accreditation will be achieved. So now that your program is fully accredited, we expect award maintenance reports on the 1st and 2nd anniversary. And this shows us an overview of how you're maintaining accreditation during this time. So because NECPA is a 3-year award term, we expect an annual report year 1, an annual report year 2, and any self-report. If you have a change in director, there is no fee due. Some accrediting bodies charge for this change, but it's not something that NECPA charges for. There is a flat fee for anniversary year 1 and 2 award maintenance. Accreditation fees for enrollment and verification are based on your license capacity size. This essentially is a snapshot of your previous year of accreditation. Annual reporting includes any improvements or updates that you've made, as well as continuing education, training for your staff, and new staff qualifications. Our goal is for you to live accreditation. So once you've completed that 2nd annual report, the process begins again. You enroll and receive your materials, request your visit, and receive your result. Want to make sure there's no questions so far on the steps to becoming accredited. Please feel free to chat anything that I can go back over in more depth. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to chat them, but I'll keep going as I've got about 40 more slides. So we're gonna make it work. Accreditation secrets. Secret number 1. Did you know that you are already meeting major accreditation standards? You are already doing the work. Accreditation is about quantifying and recognizing the quality work that you are already performing. You just need to align yourself with specific accreditation standards and compile the documentation for policies and procedures that you already have in place. Here are the areas of major accreditation standards that you are already meeting: health and safety, positive teacher-child interactions, you have a parent and staff handbook, creating a developmentally appropriate environment, a curriculum for children's success, and involvement of parents and families at your program. We'll go through each of these areas and how you're already achieving major standards. For health and safety, record keeping is key. You have these records and logs already in place. Perhaps you just need to enhance one or two areas that are required for NECPA accreditation standards. You have your emergency health plans, emergency safety plans, first aid kit and CPR training, and you perform consistent hand washing, diapering, and daily and weekly cleaning. Having that positive teacher-child interaction is critical for the success of your accreditation. To do this, having thorough staff orientation on accreditation standards and your own expectations for staff members is important. The continuity of care and supervision is something you always achieve, even if, for example, you have an L-shaped playground. Where you position your teachers is already in place. You ensure that teachers are engaging with children in their work and in their play. And you have routines that children know and understand and are consistent. Your staff and parent handbook is developed, and the criteria you've put in place is put into writing, so there's a clear understanding for your educators as well as your families. You also have well-maintained children's records. Creating the environment for children's successful learning, giving them space to learn and explore. That doesn't mean you have to have brand new materials, brand new toys, or learning equipment, but that the environment is well maintained. And then planning for children's learning. You have a developmentally appropriate curriculum, either one that you're using or have developed yourself. Having both teacher and child-directed activities within this curriculum. Providing children an opportunity for their own self-awareness and pro-social skills, as well as active physical play. Involving your parents and guardians at your program. Now we know with COVID, this has been difficult, but hopefully we're able to do some more of these parent-teacher conferences, open door policies and practices, even parent education. So how are you already involving your parents in your program is another key area for accreditation standards. Secret number 2, accreditation really is simple and straightforward. You should always choose an accrediting body that works best for your program. Comparing the tools and the books, the standards and support that you receive upon enrollment. If you feel anything is lacking, perhaps there's another accrediting body that would fit best for you. Accreditation is easily achievable with the right supports in place. Allowing yourself to dedicate time and resources upfront to the process, and then again, engaging your staff and parents throughout, make sure that you feel supported. Accreditation should be a simple tool to help elevate your program, not create undue stress. The books and resources you receive from your accrediting body should enable you to easily evaluate and elevate your program. And we'll go through each of these items in more detail. So we have a helpful handout that we're going to provide to you later called the Accreditation Comparison Sheet. And we also have available online, I'll skip ahead, these national comparisons for standards. So making accreditation work for you, using your tool to the fullest. Accreditation should highlight your program's unique qualities and not alter your program's philosophy. Regardless of your curriculum type, your location, funding stream, or environment, there's always an accreditation that's going to fit your program best. Comparisons for national accreditation standards are available online. And thank you for sharing that link. When I do see we have a question about parent-teacher conferences, and that is a requirement, but how you perform those parent-teacher conferences is up to you. It should be utilized as an opportunity to help track children's development based upon your curriculum, philosophy, and goals for children's success. Teachers really are the key to a successful implementation of accreditation standards. Giving teachers those checklists from the beginning to help you evaluate their classroom, and then setting up regular meetings with them to ensure that any areas where they found that there was non-compliance continue to be worked upon and met is important to the success of your accreditation in living accreditation and in a successful verification visit. That initial incorporation of your staff and ongoing staff meetings is part of that work plan that we showed earlier. And here's an example of the classroom checklist, and they're based upon each age group. Engaging your accrediting body. Using the free resources and guides that your accrediting body provides. We have several logs and procedures available online that can be easily modified to fit your needs. And engaging your accrediting body support team through calls and emails. You should always be able to reach someone. And if you can't, that's possibly a red flag. NECPA specifically offers free mentoring services and free ongoing support, as well as webinars and one-on-one workshops for your team. And then the manual itself, the standards book, should be a guide to your success. And I'll show you our standards book layout. We actually have within the standards book possible evidence for verification. So here we have the number of the standard, the body of the standard itself, the required criteria, possible evidence for verification, and the matching instrument number. Dividing the implementation of those items that you found to be a non-compliance into realistic goals helps you to eat the elephant one bite at a time. So identifying your top goals, what are the implementation needs you have to meet those goals, and not taking on too many changes at once. But again, while enrollment may be low, or while you're onboarding new staff members, starting the accreditation process now is a great way to modify existing policies, practices, and implementing staff changes. If you're part of a multi-site or multi-location corporate or franchise organization, you can utilize an online electronic filing system. Most of the documentation we require is based upon two categories: master policies and then center-specific documentation. So for your shared master documentation that may be across multiple locations, you can put together an electronic filing system that meets your needs, either Dropbox or SharePoint or Google Drive, whatever you're comfortable with. Labeling each of those items as you upload them. This helps to alleviate the need for a documentation box that has master policies for each location, and allows the director for each location to focus on center-specific documentation. This also helps to reduce the length of your visit, as those master policies are already going to be verified per location. If we have any questions that I need to address, Mariah, please let me know.
We have two questions. The first is regarding qualifications. If you have a degree for teaching, like a BS in education and a master's in education as well, would that suffice for what you need to be certified in order to work at a direct childcare center?
Great question. What I can do is pull up the NECPA qualifications for a director. That would definitely meet the requirements necessary to be an educator, and it would definitely meet the requirements to be a director as well. We do require some unique standards based off of your understanding of business administration, as well as years of experience in working at a center. But that level of education definitely meets our needs.
I will grab that and put that in the chat for you as a reference as well.
Thanks.
And the second question is, how many months worth of documentation needs to be seen by the verifier?
Great question. So if you're currently accredited, or if it's your first time going through accreditation, the documentation that you present at your visit will be based off of the date of your visit to 12 months back. So a full year back from the date of your visit. So even if your accreditation is yet to expire or has expired and has been extended, we're still going to look at a full 12 months from the date of your visit back. Good questions. Thanks, everyone. If there's anything more, please feel free to chat. So in addition to using your accrediting body to the fullest, incorporating your staff and families' participation in this process, making sure that you're accessing your community resources. In several states, they have unique accreditation support through their quality rating initiative systems. One of my favorite examples is the Indiana Accreditation Project. They offer not only complete payment of your accreditation fees, but technical assistance in implementing standards. And it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to choose any NECPA accreditation. They have several options for you to choose from. So again, finding the right accrediting body that's going to work best for you, and then reaching out to either your childcare resource and referral agency, a director support group on Facebook, or your quality rating initiative system for your state. It's a great way to get started down that path towards accreditation implementation and perhaps even having your fees paid for. And then having the verification be a day of success. Like I shared before, it's not pass or fail. If you need to support your accreditation by providing a few additional items, that's all we need. And then you receive your award. With NECPA, you know the day and time that your verifier will arrive. Again, we don't practice gotcha accreditation. We are all in this together for the children, families, and communities that we serve, and know that quality must be supported. And then our last secret. Oh, we've got a question?
Yes.
Perfect.
What is, if this is your initial accreditation, is it still a year of documentation?
You are correct. We look at the past 12 months from the date of your visit. So for example, if today was your verification visit, we need everything from April 6th, 2021, all the way to April 6th, 2022. Now that's usually in terms of continuing education or examples of the use of logs, such as illness records or injury logs. 12 months of reports may be pretty chunky for your documentation box. So just examples of the continual use of that documentation. All right. Okay, perfect. So accreditation secret number 3. Accreditation is your program's best marketing tool. Again, only 10% of childcare programs nationwide are accredited. So the 3 areas that we've seen success once you're accredited is increased recognition, enrollment, and profitability. We're going to go through each one of these together. So parents' word of mouth. We crowdsource everything from the best restaurant to the best dentist, and your program is under the same scrutiny. It's definitely an expectation of millennial parents for your program to have an online presence so they can see your program in action even before their child enrolls. How great would it be to link to your national accreditation database on your website to show your parent, hey, we go above and beyond not only state licensing, we're one of only 10% of programs nationwide that achieve this accreditation goal. Getting parent testimonials on your quality and being able to post that and share it on your social media and website. And NECPA helps you with this by providing a free promotional toolkit. So sample templates of social media posts that you can modify with your logo and own parent testimonials, as well as a newsletter and a press release for your accreditation. I see we've got a couple chat bubbles popping up. All right, it looks like Cindy's taking care of that. Perfect. Okay, great. Here are some special highlights that I wanted to share about providers announcing their accreditation award, especially now when parents are trying to find that top tier care or hesitant about sending their children back to school. This award shows those parents that you go above and beyond health and safety standards. I've got lots of these slides. I just love it. It's a great way to honor and support your educators too for their hard work. Increase profitability and longevity. So parents are finding your high quality program because you've enhanced your social media, you have parent testimonials on your high quality, you're recognized by your national accreditation database, by NECPA, and by your state agencies. This recognition leads to more interested families. And then that high quality care leads to satisfied families and higher levels of retention. Additionally, going back to state funding access, unique awards and bonuses, and increased rates of reimbursement that not only helps you, but helps your families. So our 3 secrets again are: you're meeting major accreditation standards already. Accreditation should be straightforward and simple. Just find the right accrediting body for you. And accreditation really is your program's best marketing tool. We have some insider checklists and toolkits that we're going to chat to you now for download for free. The 4 areas of focus on those toolkits is the benefits analysis sheet, the accreditation comparisons, top 5 common mistakes during accreditation process, and top 5 things verifiers look for on a visit. So the benefit analysis sheet helps you make that decision on when to get started and what you're going to receive once you achieve your goal of accreditation. Identifying if you have state funding available for your accreditation fees and what that cost may be. What additional benefits do you receive by becoming a high quality recognized program? Do you get staff rewards or bonuses? What percentage of increased subsidy can you expect once you're accredited? And what would be the increased enrollment estimate? And then top 5 common mistakes. And we've discussed quite a few of these on our presentation today, such as underutilizing your teaching staff during the process of implementation and evaluation for self-study, not having your documentation fully labeled and organized. Perhaps your timeline for when you want to achieve accreditation is different than what you're on right now. So making sure you're using that work plan to identify your goals and when things need to be completed by. We really recommend having a normal verification day be a normal day for your program. Having substitutes on the day of the visit does not make for a more successful day, and in fact can cause a bit of confusion for your own staff and for the children in your care. And then again, making sure you've fully answered all questions in the instrument. Yes, no, or not applicable. The things that you're already doing in your program. Again, the 5 things we're looking for are positive teacher-child interactions, active sight and sound supervision, successful transitions from activities or areas, that environment that you've created for children's success, and your health and safety practices. And I think Disney said it best when he said the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So we would love to set up a call with you to see if accreditation with NECPA would be a good fit for you. And we've got about 10 minutes to wrap up with some Q&A.
Yes. It looks like we have about 3 questions in the chat right now. One is regarding continuing education and the qualification checklist, which is in the chat. They ask at least 30 clock hours of job-related continuing education in the first year of employment. What happens if most of my staff has only been completing between 12 and 20 clock hours a year since they began?
Okay, perfect. So this is a great example of the differences between perhaps meeting state regulations and the higher requirements for accreditation. So with accreditation, you've already identified now one area where you may need to enhance what you're doing to meet that compliance. So if you have a staff member that's been with you for over a year, you don't need to go back and have them achieve those 30 hours. Moving forward, though, once you become accredited, you need to have them achieving 24 hours of continuing education a year. And that is something that will be included in your annual report, that award maintenance report, year 1 and year 2. If I can further clarify, let me know.
Looks like the next question we have is about if all things are in place, as they pretty much are at my center, then what do most centers have to do generally to achieve accreditation?
Perfect. So I'll go back to that slide on self-study, the 3 areas: evaluation, implementation, and documentation. So once you have achieved those goals for implementation, you would then make sure that your documentation is in place and well organized, and you would answer everything in that self-assessment instrument. So to get started, really all you need to do is enroll, complete the book, put your documentation together, and survey your staff and parents. Once those steps are complete, you would let our office know, and we would schedule the verification visit so that we could help you achieve your accreditation award. I see another question here. How do we find out what types of bonuses and increases would be? So each state is unique in how they provide CCDBG or Child Care Development Block Grant funding for high quality care recognition. We would recommend utilizing the state-by-state resources either on our website or on Child Care Aware of America's website to identify those resources available in your state. I've got the chat pulled up. I'm seeing another question. Are there stipulations on where you receive your continuing education? No, there are not. So long as the continuing education is focused upon areas of standards, continuing education can be in-house, it can be college, it can be online. It really depends on what's available for your staff members, and it meets your own expectation of their staff continuing education plan. All right, and then we have another question about the cost for centers in investing for accreditation. It really depends on what changes you need to make in order to implement changes to your center. I can't think of anything that's really stands out beyond just the basic accreditation fees, which I see that Mariah has shared. The implementation of standards usually is just a time investment. So doing the proper staff training, making sure that the observations for high quality teacher-child interactions, consistency of health and safety practices are being met, and then making those modifications as necessary for your policies and documentation. So I would think time is the biggest cost for implementing accreditation. There's not a big monetary cost outside of that for NECPA. And then I see another question on qualifications. For director education and experience, I have this degree and a number of years of experience, and I'm completing my national administrator credential. Katie, it seems like you are well and above ready to become a director. So I would refer to the NECPA qualifications for directors, and that can be found for free. Download on our resource guide at necpa.net. And I think we can probably give you a link to download that as well. And then another great question, can we get the evaluation criteria before committing to doing the full accreditation? And yes, you can. NECPA accreditation standards book and resource guide is available for free to download today. And we will link that as well in the chat for you to access and download it. And that will help you to do this important step here. And I'll pull that slide back up, which is choosing the right accrediting body. You can also compare NECPA standards to the other major accrediting body standards by downloading that resource online. All right. Well, this has been a really excellent afternoon with you. I don't want to take up any more of your time than necessary. I don't see any additional chatted items here for me to address. Mariah, is there anything that you'd like to share with us or wrap us up?
Let me see. I don't think that there's anything else to follow up with. However, if anyone has questions outside of this presentation, please feel free to utilize our email address, which is necpa@necpa.net, and I will put that in the chat as well. And we are very happy to answer any of your questions or set up a support call. We just want everyone to succeed and go forward with quality and excellence. So thank you so much for your time today, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.